That's what I'm talking about, though. Like,
Hey yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me. So, I usually don't talk about feminists on my channel because I think they're the most horrible people in the world. I think feminists are some of the spoilest women in the world.
As somebody who gets told on a daily basis that I'm not a feminist because of my pro-life views, I think it's really easy to say, well, like, okay, you won't let me sit at your table, but fuck it, I'm going to sit where I want. And I think that that's kind of the beauty of feminism, right? It is this radical movement that says you are supposed to be rebellious, and if people aren't going to create space for you, then you take space for yourself. So
They are worse than black women who get welfare from the government and still don't have a job but continue to have kids. They are worse than those women. So if you're wondering why I'm bringing them up, is because I run across this video. Well, actually, I ran across somebody who ran across the video, so they ran across it, but I'm gonna use it for myself and my channel. I hope nobody mind. You get me? I don't want to steal nobody content. You get me? But if I rearrange it and make it my own, they can't say nothing about it. So that's what we gonna do. Anyway, so I see this video and I want to show you. I want to show you a little bit about feminists. You got one woman who read a whole bunch of books by Jordan Peterson, so all of a sudden she believes that she's knowledgeable enough to go up against a feminist, and this is how it's going. Let's start.
Do you believe that the patriarchy exists? Obviously, yes, I do. I do believe that the patriarchy exists, and more to the point, I accept the reality of the patriarchy. For me, it's not an issue of belief or not, it's understanding that it's real. And do you think...
So, this is where things get annoying to me when it comes to feminists, because they like to say things like patriarchy.
Patriarchy is a word that scholars, and in particular feminist scholars, use to describe the ways that the world is organized by ideas about gender, and in particular ideas about men and women. Patriarchy says that men should be in charge and women should follow along and do what men want to do. And so there are lots of ways that patriarchy shapes our lives. I think one of the most clear examples of patriarchy is kind of the idea of the family or the idea of the marriage. And so inside the word patriarchy is the Latin root pater, which means father. And in a patriarchal family, the father is at the top of the family structure. So the father's in charge, maybe the mother's up there, but she's kind of following along, and then the kids are down below. And so that kind of structure might get replicated in lots and lots of other institutions.
The fuck is that? You get what I'm saying? You are basically going against God. That's basically what you're saying, because that's fucking stupid. You get me? We're just people. You get me? And men just so happen to be stronger than women. Men so happen to build everything that made women's life comfortable. You get what I'm saying? So what the fuck are you talking about when it comes to patriarchy?
Like, look, there's a claim that the West is an oppressive patriarchy. And so that's actually true. The problem with the claim is that it's not just an oppressive patriarchy. And there's a big difference between something being completely something and something being partly something. Because one of the things you might point out is that you can look at human history anywhere, and what you see is a complete bloody nightmare, right? It's death and struggle and privation and war and horror everywhere, with some progress, some ability of us to pull ourselves out of the mire, and the West is the same. There's plenty of catastrophe in our past, and of all sorts. And I think it's necessary to know that. But then it's necessary to separate the wheat from the chaff. One of the things I see with readers who are unsophisticated and intellectually arrogant is they'll read someone great. Maybe they'll read Nietzsche, for example, and they'll find the odd thing that Nietzsche said that grates against their current moral sensibilities, whether they do that in context or out. And then they'll throw away the whole book. It's like, you don't throw away the whole book. It was Nietzsche. You don't throw away the book. He's like 1 in a billion. You read it carefully and you think, well, okay, no to that. But yes to this. Well, you do the same when you look at your own history. It's like, well, of course it's a bloody nightmare. What do you expect? It's like, what's your point? We're going to burn it down and then we're going to have something better as a consequence? Well, not so easily, not so quickly. Maybe we read our history carefully. We think, okay, well, what did we get right?
You get what I'm saying? Why are you fighting against something that has made your life so comfortable? You get what I'm saying? I don't really get it. You get me? When it comes to women and working, your job is meaningless. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not big against women. I'm a truth speaker. You get me? There are areas in life where women dominate. You get me? There is no contest when it comes to them and their skills. But when it comes to this fight against man, you're going uphill. You get what I'm saying? What do you want from people? You want people to let you do it yourself, so what? So we can watch you fail?
I don't need you to protect me. I just need you not to harm me.
I don't need you to protect me. I just need you not to harm me.
I can protect myself.
I can protect myself.
Huh. I don't know. I mean, I've always felt most responsible adults kind of see it as a grass is greener thing. Men have it hard in some areas, women have it hard in other areas.
No, that's not true because there's no such thing as sexism against men.
How do you figure?
Because society hates women.
Why do you think that?
Because it's never sexist against men.
Uh-huh.
You get what I'm saying? At something that we know you can't do. You get me? It's like you're battling nature. But let's keep going. She has more words to say.
Turkey is oppressive. Absolutely oppressive to everybody. More superficially beneficial than not to men, but still acts in a way that oppresses them.
I don't know if you've thought about this, though. How can the patriarchy be oppressive to women when it was a man who invented the tampon?
Okay, so to a sane person, that will make sense. But we're not dealing with a sane person. We're dealing with someone who wants something because they're spoiled. And this is what they believe. And there is no logic in the world that will turn them away from their beliefs. These are the type of people they are. They can run into a wall, but they will draw a door.
Emergencies. Here it is. In case of emergency, draw a door.
And hope that it works. That's the type of people these are.
When it comes to the clear biases that are in the court system, especially in the marriage and family court system, right? And right there is what I would advocate for when it comes to men's rights.
The things that stand valid, like that I'm hearing from y'all that are like valid to me, come from a place of like, I am treated like unfairly by the system. Versus a lot of the things women are saying, it's also America in the system as well, but a lot of it is like harm from men.
How and where?
Emergencies. Here it is. In case of emergency, draw a door.
How and where what?
Where's this harm from men coming from?
Okay, it started when I was young. I'm not going to talk too long. I was 16, got a bottle thrown at me because I told a boy no. It started when I was in a club. A boy touched me. I said no. He kept touching me. It got to the point he got violent. It gets to the point that the only reason why a man decided to stop touching me in the bookstore I talked about earlier is because he realized my husband was not too far away. And he said, sorry, bro. Never said sorry to me. That's why. And
look at all these reasons that prove society is unfair to women. This proves we live under patriarchy.
Look at all these ways in which society is unfair to men.
Those don't count. If society exists to privilege men and oppress women, those things can't be the result of sexism.
No. If society exists to privilege men and oppress women, those things wouldn't happen. All you're doing is rejecting evidence that men have it difficult in some areas so that you won't have to adjust your original theory that sexism only happens to women. That's called circular reasoning. Look, I can do it too. We live under matriarchy. Look at all these reasons why. See how hard men have it?
You're selectively editing out the negatives of being a woman.
Off the top of my head. This is why I get upset, because I'm like, I'm here to talk about like how you feel, but when you just dismiss the fact that women actually have experiences, that's when it seems like it's about more than your rights. It seems like it's about your ego. And that's where I get pissed off. Because how dare you tell another human being that their experiences, what they're telling you right in front of your face, is not valid.
I didn't say they were invalid. I said how and why. I'm trying to understand.
How and why? Because it happened. It happened many times. It happened yesterday.
I mean, you need to acknowledge your privilege first. If people could hear that about themselves and not be defensive, I think that we could probably push the needle forward a lot faster.
So let's listen to what her rebuttal is.
It's interesting. I mean, firstly, it assumes that women or people who bled prior to the invention of the tampon had absolutely no way of dealing with their menstrual cycles. And of course, we have all of human history to disprove that theory, and the fact that we're still standing here today.
A study of 2,000 women found that almost half of them faced a lack of access, you guys, to sanitary products.
Yes.
Now, that for me was just shocking, because that just seems like something that we need to live. Like those, like you're just like, it's not something that I think a lot of us think about.
It's a necessity.
It's absolutely a necessity.
It's not available to have.
She will never admit that her life is somewhat better because of men. That's not in her nature. So she says that we was doing just fine without the tampon, and we'll continue to do if it was never here. That's basically what she's saying. And that's sad, because I just Googled and it showed me 12 things people back in the day used before the tampon was invented. Now I ain't gonna go through all 12 of them. I'm just gonna tell you the one that jumped at me the most. It's the medieval toad talisman. Sounds even spookier. European women suffering from some of the painful side effects of their period were instructed to boil a toad and wear the ashes in a pouch near their nether regions to somehow ease their heavy flow. That is fucking crazy. And here we are with a woman who would rather do that than give props to a man. That's a goddamn shame, ain't it?
I guess what I'm saying is that a man invented the tampon, a man invented the pad, a man invented the birth control pill, and these are all things that only really, well, not birth control pill, but the other two only really help women. So those are men trying to help women. You know, how are they also part of the oppressing of women if they're helping them?
Okay, real quick before she says something, I didn't watch the video. I just saw it. I recorded it, and I was doing something as I recorded it. I wasn't paying attention to it, so I'm listening to her as she talked, just like you are. I'm here with you. We are in this together. We brothers. You get me? CMB. Am I my brother's keeper? And the whole nine. We in this bitch together. So, but I'm watching accused, because I've seen enough feminists to notice what they do when they get caught in a situation. Now, all their answers are pretty scripted because they've all read the same book, so they repeat the same talking point. Now, she laugh, and that's what she's doing. She's laughing. You get me? That's what she's doing, because this is what you call a nervous chuckle. You get what I'm saying? A nervous chuckle. He gave me, they kind of caught her off guard. The question caught her off guard. To laugh is to give herself a hot second to rearrange her thoughts and her talking point. You get what I'm saying? She could look, she can make a face like, like she's thinking, but then that would look too much like she don't know what the fuck she talking about. So the laugh is to give her a hot second to rearrange her thoughts. Watch.
Well, the thing is that not every single man is an active, conscious agent of the patriarchy. Of course, we know that there are many men out there who support the rights of women and bleeding people in their lives to achieve freedom and dignity and movement throughout the world. So,
see what I'm saying? Her attitude comes from a bad place. You get me? Why? Because she said the word bleeding people. Now everybody knows that the feminist movement is somewhat imploding.
By show of hands, who here identifies as a feminist? Okay, cool. I'm just going to go by and I'm going to ask everyone, what does feminism mean to you and why do you or don't you identify as a feminist? So Ariel, we can start with you.
I wouldn't identify as a modern feminist because I don't really feel any affinity for third wave feminism any way, shape, or form, but I support social and legal equality for men and women. And so I think that I think the term feminism has been co-opted by the left in some pernicious ways. So
you get what I'm saying? Anyway, so yeah, she used the word bleeding person. You get me? Which kind of leans her towards the LGBTQ movement. You get me? Now, in her mind, they're both together. In a real feminist mind, they're all for themselves. There's three types of feminists. They're the ones who don't give a shit about men, and then there's the ones who just want women to have equal rights as men. You get what I'm saying? And just go. Then there are the ones who don't like men are the ones who say fuck men, they could all be dead, and all of them will go to Themyscira and shit like that with Wonder Woman and shit. And then you got the ones in the middle, like this young lady right here, who wants to be apart with just women because probably some man hurt her.
And I'm a feminist. I don't want that. I'm not trying to destroy men, but let's look at the empirical evidence. Let's look at the empirical in our schools. It's boys who are falling behind now, actually, in primary schools. It's boys who are falling behind at universities. It's young men who are suffering and have the worst mental impacts. It's the highest rates of youth suicide. It's a serious issue. And I think, the question is right. I mean, yes, there's a lot of disenfranchisement in the world, but there are movements persecuting women in today's world.
It's almost as though we're talking about a structural issue and you're talking about a personal issue. And people who take personally the idea that we need to change structures, I think are misreading what the complaint is that people have. And so for me, the problem that I have with kind of structural rigidity of gender roles for men and women is that they hurt men and they hurt women. They hurt both. They hurt the men who want to stay home longer with their kids. They hurt men in real physical ways because we do have a problem in this country where women are more likely to be the victims of violence at home. Men are more likely to be the victims of violence in public. But in both, the common factor is it's men committing the violence by and large, not exclusively, but by and large. And so these rigid kind of ideas of masculinity hurt everyone. And so when we talk about feminism, when we talk about changing those structures, it's to create an equality for the benefit of everyone and to get rid of some of the things that hold everyone back.
The fundamental truth we need to grasp here is that men are not oppressed because they're men. Men will be oppressed in their lives for all kinds of different reasons. They might be oppressed because they're working class. They might be oppressed because of their ethnicity or their religion or their age or their sexuality or their ability status. But at no point in human history have all men been judged, oppressed, disenfranchised, kicked out of institutions on behalf of their maleness. That just has not happened. What has happened in the West is that we developed democracy, and democracy actually meant the enfranchisement of all of us. It means the conversations about what society looks like, what manners are, what behaviour is, what courtesy.
Yeah. Anyway, she's one of those feminists, middle ones ground.
So it doesn't surprise me that there would be some men who have women in their lives who would be invested in making those lives easier for women. But I just want to go back to this point that actually people who bleed have been managing their menstrual cycles since the dawn of humanity.
Like I said, talking points. These are what she know. You can't diverge from the conversation, because if you do, then she will be in uncharted territory. So she keeps it somewhere she understands.
It's not so much that a man invented the sanitary pad or invented the tampon. It's that men historically have had access to spaces and to education and to industry that allows them to create certain versions of things that have already been used for thousands and thousands of years. Women have invented things too, you know, like...
Okay, I don't like Jubilee, okay? But I like Jubilee. I know that's confusing. I'm walking a tight line. They're interesting and not that interesting to me. Why? Because okay, look, I'll say it like this, and then I'm gonna answer why it's not. But that goes for a lot of things too. Anyway, I don't talk like I know a lot. I understand that. I use pretty common language. I use a common language. A lot of ebonics, blah 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 blah. I get it. You get me what I'm saying? I'm a common talker, but that's a good thing because you can understand me. It ain't confusing, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm somewhat of an intellectual. I am just as relaxed in my words as if you were sitting in your comfortable chair watching TV with a bowl of popcorn. That's how I talk. No matter where you at in the world, you will always understand me. Now the reason I am like this is because I have a certain amount of I'm the type of person that goes for what's truly important. You get me? You learn how to talk like you smart. I just learn how to be smart. You get what I'm saying? That's just you get what I'm saying? That's that. Now with that being said, back to Jubilee. Now I like Jubilee, but I don't like Jubilee. Why? Because it's trivial to me. Most of the things they say are trivial. It's like, okay, you're just not learning this. I already know. I get it. You get what I'm saying? Like I say, people are my expertise. Ain't nobody, not even people in Harvard, can understand people like me. Anyway, so I had to do some research, and I went looking around, and I ended up going to Jubilee because I wanted to hear about some feminists. So I ended up finding this girl who somewhat reminded me of this lady right here. And I know that was somewhat long-winded. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna make the most of this video. Okay.
The internet. The problem is, though, is that if we all accept that there is an oppressive patriarchy, then we are now telling young men that you are a beneficiary of this patriarchy, and it's making them feel bad. And it's, you know, and they're not feeling good, and they don't want to go to university, and this is a real issue because, you know, we need men to be leading the way.
That's segregating genders. If you're saying that you don't care about my opinion as a man, that
goes
against everything the
I don't
feminist
care
movement goes.
about reshaping and forming my feminism in a way that is digestible for you as a man.
So what's the current one message?
The definition of feminism across the board is the social, political, and economic equality of the sexes.
Yes. Why are we only talking about the female inequalities? Why aren't we talking about the male inequalities?
We do not have the same experience. You are not oppressed in the same ways that I am.
No, and I'm sure you're not oppressed in the same ways that I am.
You know, those don't count because we live under matriarchy. By definition,
sexism against women doesn't count. It's really problematic that you don't recognize this. And the fact that so many women deny the patriarchy exists is really just proof of the patriarchy itself.
Oh, please give me one example of why men have it hard. Besides all of the examples you've given.
Okay.
Okay, I'm about to say something that a lot of women will probably not like, but that right there is why I don't like women that much. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I don't. I'm so sorry. Please don't get mad at me, but it's things like that really irks the crap out of me because let's look. Okay, first thing, let me say this. The people who you should be talking to about your feminist ideology are the people who are not listening to your feminist ideology. They don't give a shit about what you're saying, don't care. They're going to continue to do them. Women talk about rape culture and all that other stuff. Do you really think rapists give a shit what you're talking about? That's the thing that I'm talking about. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, you want to be in power, but see, and for some reason you think with power you're gonna get everything that comes with it. Okay, let me say it like this. If you was the president, okay, of the United States, who would be your army? Men. Do you get what I'm saying? Men. You get me? Men. You get me? Because the countries who don't give a shit about feminists ain't listening to nothing that you're saying. So we can go along with this stupid idea, but who would do your battle for you? Who will fight your battles for you? Nobody. You get me? Why would we listen to you? You get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Y'all talk as if you are us. You're not us, because in order for another man to listen to you, he would have to respect you. He would have to. You get me? Do you get what I'm saying? You want things, but you're not the one that fought for them. You don't fight. You don't fight at all. You've never fought. No war, no nothing. You didn't take this land. All you done was coasted off even me, myself included. I have coasted off the wars that have been fought by men tougher than me or better than me. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You ask for things. She say, why? Why is that? You get me? We need them. Do we need them? Yes, you need them. Who will fight your wars? Who will fight your battles? Who will handle the tasks that you don't want to handle? Oh my God. Keep going.
Apparently, yes. Yes, because if the numbers of men in social sciences decreases, as they're decreasing every year, not in STEM subjects, but social sciences, then they're no longer going to be going to the top of these industries. And then, in that case, where are women going to find people to marry and mate with? Because women want to mate up, men mate across and down. So if we don't have these men staying at the top, how are the women going to mate up?
Well, I think maybe one of the problems that is challenging men like Jordan B. Peterson and his acolytes these days is not so much who women are going to marry up with or mate up with, but that more and more women are choosing not to marry and not to mate at all because they realize that these situations and these structures for them are actually not all that liberating.
Does that not sound overly privileged? You are so privileged that you can just decide not to have kids, not to care about having kids. Do you not know that in other societies they have kids? They need to have kids. They got to have kids, because if they don't, their population will dwindle and eventually they will die out. Do you not know this? Do you not get this? This is crazy talk. Okay, this lady is seriously out of her mind. It doesn't matter what you say to her. STEM field, men need to have jobs too. She is the type of woman who is going along with a narrative, and in her mind, men are evil. They don't need to exist. And she just sees a world where women love each other and just gets along, and there are no more heartbreak. You get me?
Currently in the world that we live in, where when women do marry, they end up doing the bulk of the domestic workload. They end up doing significant hours of unpaid work. If children enter the picture, then women's workload astronomically increases while men's workload decreases.
I don't know how people can throw having kids in the same category as having to go to work. You get me?
Man got married the other day. Took his wife home. Honeymoon night. Look out now. Look out now. She pulled her hair off and put it in the drawer. Pulled her teeth out and put it in the drawer. She had faults. Oh, put it in the drawer. Took off her leg and put it in the drawer. The man didn't know whether to get in the bed or get in the drawer.
At home, every man out there would switch the roles. They would switch the roles. Hey, you go to work, I'll stay home, and I'll raise the kids. Any man would do that. You get me? But see, it wouldn't work in reverse. Why? Because most women wouldn't see that man as anything worth having. You get what I'm saying? That they would see that man as a weak man, and the next thing you know, she'll be getting fucked like 50 Shades of Grey in the office, bent over and shit. You get what I'm saying? The tattoo on her arm is very telling. You get what I'm saying? The short haircut, very telling. You get what I'm saying? And the dead expression on her face is very telling. Hey, you know what I notice about a lot of women who are dead inside? They have no facial expression whatsoever. Like, seriously, whatsoever. Oh my God, feminists are horrible people inside. They're like Thelma and Louise, or that broad that's in Monster. You get what I'm saying? They are not right in the head.
It's actually not advantageous at all for women to choose to live with men in romantic partnerships. The fact that we still do it indicates to me that there's not a lot that Jordan really needs to be concerned about. This is just about maintaining men's primacy and maintaining men's position at the top of the pile. I think it seems more that what is concerning him is that men no longer have power over women.
So you would say, you would disagree with this quote then? I've watched women go through their professional careers. It's a rare woman who at the age of 30 doesn't consider having a child her primary desire. And the ones that don't, there's generally something not quite right in the way that they're constituted or looking at the world.
So I like Jordan Peterson. You get me? I like Jordan Peterson, but I do not listen to all his lectures. If anything, I'll listen to his debates, because I wholeheartedly believe most of the things that he say and things like that, and I already understand it, so that's why I don't listen to it. I do not repeat the same knowledge. Don't get me I do refresher course just to see if I'm on the right page, because people don't talk these days. They hold information to themselves, so this is a good way for me to see if I'm still on the right track as a person and with my knowledge and stuff like that. I'm a Plato reader. I'm a type of person that reads Socrates and things like that. I read books like Frankenstein. You get what I'm saying? I'm that guy. You get me? I understand knowledge and things like that. So, and like I said, I watched this video. I'm watching it with you, and Jordan Peterson just proved my point about crazy. You get what I'm saying? But then that's a common expression, so I guess I could have just threw a needle and hit that one. But that is a serious problem with people who don't know how to control their emotion. Feminists are very selfish people. They're super selfish. You get what I'm saying? And they're very jealous. You get me? Very jealous. This is they're very envious. This is what you call penis envy. Feminists are big with penis envy. Okay, and it's so sad.
That sounds to me like quack psychology that is better placed in the 19th century than in the 21st century, and certainly not the kind of science that should be asserted based on a handful of observations.
Well, he says there are plenty who will just simply not admit having this as their primary desire.
Oh, that's interesting. So he's claiming to be a mind reader.
Yes.
Also a form of whack science.
The young lady who reading the book, I don't know her, but I like her. She seems real cool, and regardless of whatever she thinks about anything else, she seems to be on the right path when it comes to trying to understand what's going on with the world. The lady who is the feminist, she supposedly wrote books or something like that. I would never read it, you get me? Because look, these days I cannot read none of these people's books because everybody is pushing so much propaganda that I would have to comb through more books just to see what's right or what's wrong. You get what I'm saying? I usually read books when during a time when it was actually like Nobel Peace Prize and winning to come up with a theory and to write a paper about it, or to write books that made you laugh or made you cry, or actually taught you something. And you get what I'm saying? History books, things, teachers and professors who actually taught real fucking education type shit. That's where I'm at, you get me? All this new wave stuff that people saying is it has no basis, and anybody can pretty much write a book these days, and it's kind of sad that man, the future generations will have to comb through so much knowledge just to piece together actual truth. You get what I'm saying? That is so sad, you get me? Anyway, this woman is crazy, okay? There's nothing else to say about it. She was hurt, and she need to heal inside.
That certainly has not been proven to have any sort of basis in reality. I mean, it's convenient, I'm sure, for Jordan B. Peterson to decide that he knows better than the women he's speaking to what they truly feel, but it's certainly not a revolutionary position for a man to take. It's certainly not something that men throughout history have not been guilty of doing. As a woman, I certainly know that I belong to a class of people whose desires and ideas and mentality about the world are consistently disclaimed by men around me. That my actual mentality or my actual emotions about things I'm not thought to be in control of them. That I need a man to define those experiences for me. And Jordan B.
Okay, so this video is pretty long, becoming longer than I thought, so I'm gonna stop it right there. But I'm the only reason we even went this long is because I just wanted y'all to see what I see. You get what I'm saying? She's basically a robot. You get me? Up until the point till some man comes along and makes her feel better, or somebody makes her feel better, or she finds some type of happiness inside. But yeah, she pretty dead inside, and nothing you'll say. She got a talking point for everything. You get me? So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.